What's up, fourth graders? This is a recap of Illustrative Mathematics, Grade 4, Unit 6, Section C. Section C is regarding division. It is pages 65 through 92 with the section summary on page 92. In this video, we are going to be discussing division of larger numbers with and without remainders, and I'm going to kick through a couple strategies that we have used in class that were kind of the most popular to solve these division problems. Stick around.
All right, so we are going to start by dividing 615 into 4 equal groups. We're going to use place value, and I've been telling students this is our dividend, and if you think about this as Skittles, okay, and this is our divisor. If you think about that as baskets, I have 615 Skittles. I have to put these Skittles into 4 equal baskets. That's one good way of thinking about this because it helps you think about items that you're dividing into equal groups, okay? So in order to use place value, we're going to take 615 and we're going to decompose it. We're going to break it up into numbers that are easier for us to use. And so if I did place value, that would look like 600 plus 10 plus 5. But as you know, you should always have your list of multiples handy. So you're going to list your multiples over to the side or have your multiples somewhere for yourself. And you're going to have your list here to be able to look at. The question is, does 600 look like it's going to fit in anywhere here? It doesn't. So we have to make a change. And here's something else that I see right off the bat. My list of 4s, here's a 5 in the ones place. There are no 5s. Look here, 4, 8, 2, 6, 0, 4, 8, 2, 6, 0 in the ones place. So I know for sure that means I'm going to have a remainder. So I'm on the hunt for my remainder. So I'm going to change this a little bit. I'm going to use the 600, and then I'm going to change this to 15. Well, I have a 16 here, but that's over, so I'm going to choose the 12, and then I know that there are 3 left after that, okay? But still we have to deal with this 600. There's nowhere 600 is in here. So I'm going to decompose this 600 as well. I'm allowed to put a 0 on the end of there, so if I take 200 plus 200 plus 200, that would work. Because as you are decomposing, this here has to be the same value as this here. You cannot change that. So we're going to have, now we're just going to take these numbers and we're going to divide them by 4. 200 divided by 4, we have to do this 3 times. Because these here are our partial dividends, and they have to have the same value as our original dividend. So we have 612 plus our 3, and that 3 gets us the 615. That 3 turns into our remainder. And so now what is our answer though? Okay, look at all this work we've done, but what is my answer? 200 divided by 4. When I'm dividing by 4, I'm going to count down my list. Count the groups of 4 that it took me to choose this number, because this is the number I chose. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 would give me 20. I added a 0 to the 5, so that means this is 50. The way you check yourself is go backwards. Is 50 times 4 200? Well, 5 times 4 equals 20, so if I put that 0 and 10 times the value, then that works. And then 12 times 4, 1, 2, 3. So these here are my partial quotients. Partial quotients. I'm going to add them, and I'm going to make sure that I have my numbers in a nice alignment right here. So 3, and then 5, 10, 15, 15. My answer is 153, remainder 3. Now, that's with a remainder. If I were going to do 612 divided by 4, I wouldn't have a remainder because I would be able to bust this up into 600 plus 12 and do the same thing. I would have 200, 400, 600, and then the 12, and then this part would just not happen here, and I wouldn't have that remainder, okay? That's your place value strategy with a remainder or without a remainder. All right. Our next strategy is partial quotients. This is it's like repeated subtraction. We're going to use an obelisk like this. We're going to do 615 divided by 4. Our dividend goes inside and our divisor goes on the outside. So we're taking these Skittles, if you will, we're taking these Skittles and we're dividing them into 4 equal groups. As I've been telling my students, as we decide to grab groups of Skittles, how are we going to decide to do that? And so this is repeated subtraction. This is partial quotients. We're going to choose a number that we can find that takes from 615 and takes something out. I'm going to choose 400 because I always tell students, take the 10 if you can. And if you turn it into 100, then that's fine too. Take the 10. So this subtraction sign is the signal that this is the number I've chosen. I've chosen 400, and I'm going to divide 400 into 4 groups, and that's going to give me 100 Skittles in each basket. Now, how many Skittles do I still have to sort out? Well, I'm going to subtract what I took from what I had, and I'm going to get 215. All right, now 215. What am I going to do with 215? Well, look here. If I put a 0 here, that's a 200. That's going to serve me really well. 200 divided by 4 is going to equal 50. Because when I count down the list, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, but I added that 0 right there, and so that's how I get 50. Now, how much do I still have left to deal with? Well, I'm going to have to subtract here and find out. So I have 15. Now I have 15. What number in my list is going to benefit this 15? Well, I can't use 16 because I only have 15 Skittles left. And so if I try to choose 16, I don't have 16 to divide. So I can't go over. I have to use the 12. So I'm going to take away 12 more. 12 divided by 4 equals 3. Okay. Now I subtract and I have a 3 here. When I subtract and I have a 3 here, if I've subtracted and this number that is left gets smaller than my divisor, that means I only have 3 Skittles left, but I have 4 baskets to fill. So I don't have enough for everybody to get an equal part. So this becomes my remainder. Now these here are my partial quotients. And so when we have a partial quotient, we're going to take that partial quotient and we're going to add it up. We're going to add them up. You have to make sure that your alignment is good. Mine's not so great, so I'm going to move my 3 over into the ones place so that I have my addition all situated. I'm adding 3, 5, 1. My answer is 153 Skittles in each basket, if you will, if you think about it like a story. But then I have these 3 left over. 153, remainder 3. What happens with this strategy? Kids are really good about choosing the number they need out of the list for this part here. They put it here, but then they forget to divide. They forget that they have a pile of 615 Skittles. They've taken 400 Skittles out of the pile, put them into the 4 baskets, and now they have to find out how many Skittles went into each one. So this is the part that they forget. And then sometimes they'll get stuck. If they remember this part, then we might get stuck and forget to figure out how many Skittles we have left to deal with. And so those are some common roadblocks, if you will, in this whole situation. But this is how you use the obelisk. We love that thing has a name. This is how you use the obelisk to find partial quotients we're repeatedly subtracting, which we know that multiplication is repeated addition, so it would make sense that division is repeated subtraction. We're repeatedly subtracting, and we just happen to have a remainder. Now, if we wanted to just kind of quickly look and see what this would look like without a remainder, we could do like we did before, 612. I'm still going to look at the list, and I'm still going to say, okay, it's 600 because I know my place value. I don't have a 600 in the list I have, but I'm going to take the 10, I'm going to turn that into 400, and 400 divided by 4 equals 1. When you're answering a division question like this, you count down the list because you're counting groups of 4. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, but we added that 0, so we have to add a 0 onto our answer. Then we're going to subtract. It's going to get us 212 minus 200, like we did, divided by 4 equals 50. Looky there. 200 is half of 400. 50 is half of 100. That's a good check. And then subtract how much we have left to deal with. 12. Looky there. There's a 12 in our list. I'm going to take out 12. And when I take out 12, sometimes this gets kind of tricky too. When there's a 12 here and they're like, okay, it's in the list, but now what do I do? You've taken out the 12. You have none left over, but you have chosen. We've been talking about the subtraction sign notates the number I chose. And the number I chose is the number we have to divide. So divide that by 4, that's a 3, and then you add these up just like you would, and you would get 153 with no remainder. So that is how you use partial quotients, repeated subtraction with your dividend inside the obelisk to divide. All right, for our final strategy, we're going to be talking about the multiples, which is our list right here, and multiplication. Here is what our students are going to try and figure out. They're going to try and figure out 4 times what is going to give me something good in the list. So this is tricky because this is 600. And no matter how many zeros I put on here, I don't have a 6. So I'm going to have to break that 600 up. So I'm going to, again, choose 400. 4 times what equals 400? What number in this list is going to get me 400? Because we're using the list of multiples. 1, 2, 3, 4. How many groups? 1 group, 2 groups of 4, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. But I got to put that 0 on there because if I just try to take 40 out of 615, I'm going to be here all day, and I don't have that kind of time. So 10 plus the 0, not plus the 0, you put the 0, is 100. So this is, okay, this is where these are my partial quotients. This here is my dividend because as 4th graders, we know that division is just multiplication in reverse. So I could take this, flip it, and that would give me the division. So these are my dividends over here as I create them. All right, but I only have 400. I got to get 615 because that's where I'm trying to get to. Okay. So now 4 times what equals, all right, well I did 400. So if I do 200, that'll get me 600, and that's a good thing. 4 times what gets me 200? All right, well, let's count how many groups of 4 it would take to get to 200. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. With this extra 0, 50, because it's 10 times the value. We know we're allowed to do that. Okay, so now I have 600. What do I have left? 15. 4 times what is going to give me 15? Question mark? Well, nothing. Okay, so there is nothing to give me 15, but I could get 12. So 1, 2, 3, 4 times 3 equals 12. But that's on. So now my dividends are at 612. But when I am changing out this dividend to make it more easier to use with my list, which my list is determined by my divisor, when I'm doing that, it has to still equal the same value. So, but 612 is as good as I can get. So now I got 3 just kind of left, right? So those are going to be my remainders. When I know that I've got something not just quite right, that's my remainder. So then I have these here. These are my partial quotients because, like I said, if we flip this, then these would be our answers. Our answer, again, is 153 with a remainder 3. This is how you solve division problems using just a list of multiples and multiplication. Bonus content! Hey y'all! Let's talk about just regular old division. 63 divided by 4. This is your dividend. This is your total. This is the number you're trying to hit in the list. Hit. This is the number getting divided. These are your Skittles, all right? This is your divisor. This number is your list maker. It's the number you're going by. It's the baskets in your story about Skittles, okay? So this is a divisor. This is the list you're going to use. Now, this quotient is going to be your answer. How you use the list to help you solve this is you say, okay, 4, I'm trying to hit 36. I'm going to count how many groups of 4 it takes to get to 36. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. It takes 9 groups to get to 36. So what if we had a question 39 divided by 4? What would be the answer to that? Well, we know we have 39 Skittles we're trying to divide into 4 equal groups. All right, so we would count 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. But if we did to the 40, that's close to 39. We can't go over this number. We have to stay below it. So we have to go back to the 36. So we're going to count the groups. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. We have 9, but 9 is only 36. So we're going to count up to how many we have. 36, 37, 38, 39. Those are our remainders. This is the bonus content. This is how you use the list to help you as you're dividing when we get into those bigger numbers and you have to decompose the dividend and things like that. This is how you use the list.
This concludes our video on division, our recap of Illustrative Mathematics Unit 6, Section C. We talked about division of larger numbers with remainders and without remainders. We talked about 3 main strategies: place value, where we decompose the number, partial quotients, where we use the obelix, and then list of multiples, where we use our list of multiples to help us decompose our number better. If you have questions, leave them in the comments, and I will catch you later.